Yo, 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 what's good, everyone? It's your boy GD, the sports actor, and we are back, ready to start these episodes back up as we talk about the New York Giants, as we discuss the New York Knicks, as we share a couple films that we're out here seeing. We're just back, with this next season of this podcast journey. So, really, really excited, and we're just going to get right off bat. You know how we do. We're just going to share the news, share the good news, and the new news in town. Start spreading the news that the New York Giants have signed Russell Wilson. Yes, it is official. The New York Giants have signed Russell Wilson. You can see him behind me here yesterday as he was taking questions from some of the beat reporters for the New York Giants. And touring the facility, he came with Sierra, his wife, as they, met with Brian Daboll and probably met with the staff and just got accustomed to being in New York, New Jersey, as some like to make fun of. And yes, I get it. The stadium's in Jersey, but it is the New York Giants. So hopefully the jokes can end and we can leave Jersey where Jersey's at and maybe give the Jets to Jersey. That'd be nice. If we want to leave a departing gift. But anyways, yeah, we've signed Russell Wilson, been to the Pro Bowl 10 times, 36 years old, has started 199 games, has played with the Seahawks when he first got drafted. He also had a small stint with the Denver Broncos, did not really turn out too well with that situation there, and he just came over from the Steelers. Did well with the Steelers, worked well with Mike Tomlin from what I saw, worked well with the talent that he had there. But personally, I believe that the New York Giants have a better roster compared to what the Steelers had offensively. I think the New York Giants definitely can bring a lot more ability out of Russell Wilson. And even with the roster that they had, Russell Wilson took the Steelers to the playoffs. So with, someone like Brian Daboll running the offense and players like Malik Neighbors, Slay, Wandell, hopefully Jalen Hyde gets in the mix, Theo Johnson, Tyrone Tracy. The New York Giants are going to be a good team led by Russell Wilson, who has had 2 Super Bowl appearances and definitely has won 1 Super Bowl at MetLife Stadium, by the way, which is pretty cool. So he's familiar, okay? He's not worried about the grass. He's not worried about the turf or, lack thereof of the grass. He's not worried about any of that. He's ready to play ball. He's ready to contribute to this team any way that he can, and he knows that there's a lot that he can contribute. And what's really refreshing, if you haven't seen this interview or taken the time to listen to it, it's like night and day compared to listening to Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones was always either reviewing tape or saying that, yeah, I just know that I need to do better, be better, try better. Better. And nothing was ever better. I think at one point maybe he was confusing the word better for butter, because I really don't think it was clicking at all. But Russell Wilson seems very definitive. He seems very confident. Seems to have the ability to give praise to his other teammates, and also breaks down and assesses the game in a really clear manner. So I really do appreciate that, especially with the fact that, we haven't had a quarterback in so long. We haven't. Daniel Jones, we drafted him, and 6 years since we had no one. We had Tyrod Tracy, and we just gave him up. And just let him get out of here, when really Tyrod Tracy could have been a bridge quarterback easily. But we never looked into that option because we were so set on Daniel Jones being that guy. And we see how that turned out. But hey, he's over there with the Colts. Don't want to spend too much time talking about the guy. Well wishes. Do your thing. But yes, so now the QB room is pretty full. And the QB room looks very exciting. We have Russell Wilson. And before the Russell Wilson signing, as many of you know, we signed Jameis Winston. I was not mad at that signing either. Actually, I liked that signing, and then this Russell Wilson signing was kind of a little cherry on top. I was really Joe Shane has been cooking this offseason. I can say that for sure. It was definitely quiet in the beginning. Tried to go after Matthew Stafford. That didn't work out. Aaron Rodgers is just sitting on his hands and, expecting teams to really just roll out the red carpet, the lights and everything and just go chase him. And it's like, buddy, calm down. You're not Tom Brady. And so I was glad that we were able to go with someone, who doesn't have as much of an ego on a relatively very good deal. I mean, Russell Wilson's deal is a 1 year, $10.5 million deal, essentially. I mean, it can go all the way up to 21.5 with incentives involved, especially if he were to, get us to the playoffs, do well in the playoffs. There's a side note here. There's a bet that's out there for the New York Giants, that Russell Wilson would almost double his salary this year if the Giants were to go 17-0, based on how the incentives are built in. The odds on that is plus 80,000. Let me say that again. The odds on that is plus 80,000. I'm just going to leave that right there. So, you know me. I'm going to do me. I might have to put a little something down, but I just wanted to leave that out right there. There's a lot of good odds before the season starts for the New York Giants because a lot of people just aren't expecting them to be better than they are. But we're going to break it down here as to why they're going to be better than they are. Let's look at Russell Wilson and what he was able to do last year with the Steelers, signing that 1 year contract veterans minimum of $1.2 million. Okay. Let's see. After he recovered from the sidelines, I believe, he didn't play the full season. I believe Russell Wilson last year played 11 games. And through those 11 games, his stats, let's go through them. Completions and attempts, 214 for 336 completion to attempts. Percentage, 63.7%. Passing yards, 2,482. Average yards per attempt, 7.4. Means we're moving the ball closer, than just 3 yards, check downs, doing whatever the hell we were doing prior. Passing yards per game, 225. Touchdowns last season, 16. Interceptions, 5. Passer rating, 95.6, which I believe is the 5th best passer rating in the NFL last season. Sacks taken, 33, resulting in about 219 yards lost. Now let's move on to, those were Russell Wilson's stats, okay? Now let's move on to some of these other games or some of these other players. Jameis Winston. Let's break down Jameis, okay? This is over 12 games. Because, of course, Deshaun Watson went down with his Achilles injury. And this is what Jameis' numbers looking like. Completions attempts, 181 to 296. Completion percentage, 61.1%. Passing yards, 2,121. Average yards per attempt, 7.2. Passing yards per game, 176.8. Touchdowns, 13. Interceptions, 12. Passer rating, 80.6. Sacks taken, 24. Resulting in a loss of 130 yards. So you literally can see Russell Wilson. I mean, there seems to be this idea that there's a competition between Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. It's clearly not. Russell Wilson is clearly the better quarterback, and he even showed it with playing one less game than Jameis Winston. So Russell Wilson will be the starter. His passer rating, 95.6. He had 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That's great. Passing yards, 225 2,482 yards. And Jameis is, right there. 61% completion percentage, passing yards, 2,121 passing yards per game, 176. I'll take those. The touchdowns to interceptions ratio, 13-12, definitely going to work on that. Definitely going to, because you can't just be, giving out as much as you're taking in. That's just basic, finances. You cannot be giving out as much as you are taking in. Come on, 13-12. We got to lower those interceptions, and we will. We will. Now, we're going to look at what we were working with last season, okay? We're going to be looking at a man named Drew Lock. Games played, at least 5 starts, because Drew Lock could barely stay up because the offensive line was so bad, but also because he's undersized, small, and okay, let's get into it. Completion percentage, 51.1%. Passing yards, 414. Touchdowns, 0. Interceptions, 2. Passer rating, 54.6. Rushing yards, 129. Rushing touchdowns, 1. No passing touchdowns, but at least 1 rushing touchdown. Put this man in the running back room. Because there was nothing quarterback about these stats. And that's what we were working with last year. So the complaints, or if there's any type of confusion or any type of doubt, there doesn't need to be. Because already on paper, this is an improvement than what we were dealing with and what we were shoveling out in terms of quarterback performance last season. So I will gladly welcome Russell Wilson, and I will gladly welcome in Jameis Winston, because the talent is much needed. And we will see it apparent when we start seeing, balls flying through the air. Pause. When we start seeing these footballs, flying through the air, and we're getting huge amounts of, we're just covering huge amounts of yards through the air, because we have guys like Jalen Hyatt, Malik Neighbors, Darius Slayton, who are having fun, having a good time, running routes, and the ball is being dropped in a breadbasket right into their hands. And I really see it happening with someone like Russell Wilson. I mean, we're not going to sit here and act like Russell Wilson wasn't throwing these huge deep balls, pause, over to DK Metcalf. Beautiful. Just beautiful birds, just perfectly placed. So he can definitely still spin it. Age is not a factor. And again, the emphasis on this is that the New York Giants did this knowing that they needed to bring in a veteran presence and not just rely on a rookie to come and just save the day. There are jobs on the line when it comes to Joe Shane and Brian Daboll. They have to win. Everybody knows it. They have to win. They need to come to this season winning, because the New York Giants last season, we were a 3-14 team. 31st in point scoring with 273, 21st in points allowed with 415. We were, 29th overall, and I'm not sure how we even made it up that far. I mean, thankfully the Browns, the Raiders, these type of teams exist. Okay? So I'm super excited about this addition. It definitely, it was not expected for a lot of these draft moves to happen, but the New York Giants have been cooking, not only on offense, but what we were able to obtain on defense through Holland, through still learning some of the names, but Paul Adobe. We've made improvements. We have made improvements. Let me see roster moves. Just want to make sure I get a lot of these guys back, or guys' names correct. Okay, so yeah, let's run down the list. We got Zach Pascal from the Cardinals. We got Lil Jordan Humphrey. I believe he came from the Denver Broncos. We brought back Aaron Stinney. We brought back Emir Smith-Marset. We brought in Paulson Odebo from the Saints corner. Super excited to have him on the squad as he works across from Deonte Banks. And I'm super excited for Deonte Banks to come back this season and to really just show what he's able to do. You know, I know he went quiet. I know a lot of the confidence was taken out. I know he was getting bullied a lot by a lot of the elite wide receivers. He held up his own, but the slants were just taking him out of the game and just couldn't get his head turned around in time. But I'm super excited to see what Paulson Adebo is going to bring as a counterpart to Deonte Banks. We have Stone Forsyth from the Seahawks, Chauncey Golston brought in from the Cowboys, brought back Slay, Jameis Hudson III from Cleveland. We have Chris Board from the Ravens. Chris Manhertz, we brought back Jamie Gillen. So, you know, the New York Giants definitely, I believe, were in a good position because I really don't even feel like we were too far off last season. We were a good team. We held teams to under 3 touchdowns for most of many of these games. It wasn't until about the fourth quarter where something would happen and these teams would break out with, 2 scores in the fourth or a dump score last minute before the game ends because the defense was just so exhausted because the offense could get nothing going or change the momentum of the game. And now, with a competent quarterback, now with a team that it seems to be coming together where pieces are being addressed, you really have a shot at creating something beautiful. So I'm super excited about the New York Giants. I'm super excited about where we're going to continue to go, what we're going to continue to do and build. We have the draft coming up, and really with these 2 quarterback pickups, me personally, I think the New York Giants should focus on getting a blue chip player through either Travis Hunter or through Abdul Carter. Those would be the only 2 players that would interest me now that I have 2 quarterbacks that I can use and start. And then from there, I would make efforts to find a QB in the later round, Jackson Dart in the second round. That would be the smartest play for the New York Giants. But we continue to need elite playmakers on offense. That is beyond a question. You have a guy who can throw the ball. You have one elite playmaker through Malik Neighbors. But even sometimes still, Darius Slayton, we have to, see and make sure that he can bring in the ball and not drop it. Wan'Dale Robinson, we need to continue to see him create separation and find open moments for himself to where he can have, bigger chunks of yardage, even if it is on some of these like short drop-offs, throws that are drawn up for him. Jalen Hyatt, need to see him getting out there and sprinting, and using that speed agility. I know he wants to show his ability to run routes, but we also need to, stick with the bread and butter, the things that made you great, and that was being able to burn anybody on the outside. And so you want to be able to bring that back. And I feel like the Giants are definitely creating a good culture, a better culture than what they had. And so super excited to see how we can continue to further this endeavor. And so the New York Knicks are going to be playing soon. We'll discuss and get into them. I've been dropping some TikToks, previews before their games. The New York Knicks are in a good spot right now. I did just see though that because the Detroit Pistons have been winning and playing some good basketball, instead of the Knicks sitting at 3rd right now facing them while they were sitting at 6th, I believe now we are projected, we'll see what happens by the end, but we're projected to go up against the Milwaukee Bucks, which should be very, very interesting. I still have us winning, but definitely a different matchup, a little bit more of a matchup that you would have to raise your eyebrows to. But, Dame is out. Only problem would have to be Giannis and how he comes to play. But I believe the New York Knicks, the way that they are set up at the moment, are ready to handle that responsibility. And that would be a good first game for them to go through as they try to move on to the second round. And one last thing I do want to drop for you guys is a movie that I did go see, a little movie breakdown. The movie that I went to go see was Captain America, Brave New World. That one was with Harrison Ford as well as Anthony Mackie playing the Captain America in this particular film. I thought it was good. Storyline was not as big as you would say a Marvel production. They really tried to keep it in the world of Captain America and bring the world down to a smaller level and really make it human, civilian living with superhero, and how that whole dynamic works. Sometimes we can see some of these huge superhero films and we forget that everyday regular people are living amongst these great gods that walk among us with these powers. So it was really nice to see that aspect for sure. But because of that aspect, I would say that the action scenes fighting was a bit minimal. In my opinion, I felt like, could have been a little bit better. But it was a good movie nonetheless. I'd give it a 6, maybe 6.3 out of 10. I'll keep it in that 6 range. So nothing that you have to go run to go see. But if it's on Netflix or on a streaming site, definitely would spend some time on a movie night and go check it out. But yeah, it was good. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. And I just want to say, like I said in the beginning of this, I'm back and I really do appreciate it. And thank you guys for locking in, sticking in. And let's just keep rolling out with this information news on the New York Giants, the New York Knicks. The Yankees play today, and I believe they won against the Brewers. I'd have to double check. I saw they were up 2-1, and I believe they hit a homer on their first bat out. But yeah. Let's get it, man. Just sharing what I love to do and just continuing to pod it out, I guess. But yeah, check me out. Subscribe, comment, like, all that. All right. Later.